Welcome everyone to the Super Speedway Kings, and tonight we are at Talladega International Speedway. I am your host, Rick Souza, and I'm joined here in the booth by my co-host, Jeff Neely, and welcome to Daytona.
It is exciting to be at Daytona. It's going to be so much different, or so different from last week. Talladega is big, open, spread out, but now coming here to Daytona, it's the track tightens up. It's bumpy. You really have to have your truck handling well to be able to run a good race here.
Absolutely, and so we're here with right now 39 other drivers here for the Super Speedway Kings at Daytona. This is completely different than what we've seen for the past 2 weeks. We've got narrower straightaways, tighter turns, and it's going to be an incredible example of 2-wide, maybe even 3-wide racing.
Yeah, it was interesting listening to the drivers talk earlier while they were practicing, and a lot of talk about running 3-wide and what that meant. And I have a feeling we're going to see it. And 3-wide at Daytona is much more difficult than 3-wide at Talladega.
Absolutely. So we are looking at right now qualifying. Again, we've got 39 drivers tonight. They are out there qualifying and putting up those times. So on the tower, you've currently got those times that are posted, and when we get a starting order, we'll bring up that grid and bring it to you.
Yeah, Gary Jenkins out there with a 51.37. That's a pretty good run. That's not too bad. We'll see if anybody can get out there and challenge him. But it's interesting. You look at that, and you've got the first 13 spots, just a little over a half a second difference. That's it. So it's pretty tight on the qualifying times and speeds. Be interesting to see how these guys pull this off, and do they want to start up front? Be interesting also to see how many guys don't attempt a qualifying lap and start at the back.
Well, and talking about the race, let's kind of see what the race will bring to us. We'll take a look at that in a second, and we'll bring up the keys to this race. So it's a super speedway, right? So the challenge here for all these drivers is going to be how to stay out of trouble. It's not so much a tire issue per se. We don't see that much, but it's definitely going to be a challenge.
Absolutely. 65 degrees right now for the weather. It's cloudy skies. It's going to be I think they said 65 for the weather and 68 for the track. So not too much difference at all on the ambient temperature as far as air temperature and track temperature.
Right, so we've got 77 laps. They're doing just one qualifying lap. They do have 2 quick repairs, so if you get in trouble, you can kind of get your car repaired and get back out on the track. There are 2 green-white checkers in this league for this race, and so if we need to, we can go to overtime here, and we'll see how it goes.
Yep, qualifying's wrapping up here in about 5 seconds. Looks like one of the last trucks coming in right now, and be ready to go. They're going to grid up here any moment.
Well, and bear with us. There's our software that we broadcast with. Sometimes we do have some glitches, and we've seen that with our overlays. So bear with us. We'll do our best to bring you the best information in the most timely fashion. So we'll see what happens. So okay, so we have a grid.
Yeah, Gary Jenkins was able to hold on to that pole position with a 51.37. Joining him on the front row, Gabe Butler in that 88 machine. And then the second row is Sebastian Marin in the 23 truck, and Logan Helton in the 63 truck. We'll tell you a little bit more about Logan later. He's got a great, interesting story. That third row, Tom Dixon and Rick Seabrans, Seth Groover and Sean Stevens in the fourth row. Row 5 is J.D. Crow and Jimmy Crow. Look at that, father-son starting together in the 5th row. And then following them, Robert DuPont and Eric Laurie.
In the 13th position, you've got James Mohan. In 14th, Mike Rimkus. 15th is James Mayer. 16th is Dean Wilkinson. 17th, Robert Rock. 18th, Elliott Swope with the iRacing Warrior Motorsports Group. In 19th, you've got Dave Bond. And in 20th, Mark Mann.
21st is Jay Hilliard, and alongside him in the 26 truck, Jimmy Reynolds, starting there in 22nd spot. Those guys are followed by David Overstreet and Marco Berube. John Ward, Tony Wright making up that next row. Followed in 27th place, Paul Turner, Shane Posey in 28th. Zachary Workman, 29th, and Brian Rainville in 30th.
So wrapping up, you've got James Peterson in 31st, the 32nd position of Al Cena in the 85. In 33rd, Edward Fielder. 34th, Buddy Waters. 35th, Richard Sanchez. 36th is Todd Siebels. 37th, Randy Miner. 38th, Jimmy Crawford. And in the row at the very tail end of the pack, it's Brian Wang in 39th, and Dale Willoughby is in 40th. We've got 40 drivers here tonight at Daytona.
Yeah, and several guys. Looks like probably, well, at least 15 guys did not attempt a qualifying lap. They elected to just start towards the back. You can see the trucks on their first pace lap right now. And a lot of these guys said, you know what, we're just going to start at the back, let things sort themselves out, and then we'll get in the thick of it a little bit later.
So the cars are on their pace lap now. They are on the back stretch, and they will be coming to the green. There will be a Geico restart zone here on the front tri-oval. And we're beginning to
truck
form
of
up.
Gary Jenkins starting off first, going to bring the field to the green here in a little bit. Shouldn't be too long now. And everybody getting ready to stack up tight behind him.
You can see the cars coming off of turn 4.
Looks like the pace car is going off.
Coming down to the stripe.
Green flag.
Green flag is out here at Daytona for the Super Speedway Kings. And we've already got a little bit of lane changing going on.
Oh, there we go. At the 88 truck, I think.
That is the 88 truck of Gabe Butler right out front on the low line.
Yeah, he started up top and then switched his way down. Got in front of Gary there.
Well, we'll see what happens here at this track, just whether the low line has the better overall speed, or that high-end groove can really put it together.
Yeah, now I've got the 63 truck out in front. That's a lot of lead changes already this early in the race. You got Logan Helton, we mentioned in the pre-race there that we were going to talk about him a little bit later. He's already given us a chance to talk about him by jumping out in front there.
So those first two lines are battling back and forth, kind of a little bit of push me pull. You see the number 4 car of Rick Seabrand's kind of testing out that high line, maybe coming back down to that low line. You've got to find your way around this track. What works for me? What works for my truck? How can I get around best on this track?
That's one of the unique things about this league is they all use open setups. So every guy can set his truck up to fit his driving style. But they also, the thing that makes it unique, they're also very willing to share setups. They'll post what they have, and anybody's able to use someone else's setup if they want. And it's just an interesting approach that I think really helps lead to good sportsmanship.
Well, you're watching a pretty tight battle here with the 63 of Helton and the 88 of Butler. That's low line versus high line as they navigate their way around this track. If you've watched our previous few broadcasts, you've seen us at Talladega. As you compare these tracks together, it's significantly different.
Absolutely. We've talked about it a little bit. The straightaways are so much narrower. Same thing with the turns. You don't have near the room, so it's not as forgiving to start with. But then this track's a little bumpier. It's got certain spots, like I think down in turn 1, right down next to the yellow line, you got a big bump down there. And when you hit the bump in one of these trucks at 180 miles an hour, they want to jump a little bit. They move around a lot. Somebody going down to the apron there to just get out of the way and
maybe back up. I think that was one of the cars of JD Crow or Jimmy Crow kind of backing up a bit. You know, this is a 77 lap race. It's a long race. If you're up front and there's a lot of slicing and dicing, the pack is going to stay together. You can catch back up with these trucks. There's a lot to be said for maybe backing out of that, moving back to a safer position, because if you think the big one is coming, which unfortunately does happen, you want to protect yourself.
Absolutely, and that 77 laps gives them just enough. If their entire race went green, and wouldn't we be so lucky, but if the entire race goes green, you're probably going to have 3 pit stops, and so gives the guys a chance to mix it up, not only on the track, but their technique and skill in getting on and off pit road quickly.
So you're watching the IWM broadcast network of the Super Speedway Kings here at Daytona. This is our first time here at Daytona with this league, and you're seeing a clinic of drafting with these trucks. You've got the 63 of Logan Helton. Logan's on the low line, and he is being pushed behind it by Gary Jenkins in the 90. The outside line, you've got the 88 of Gabe Butler, and behind the 88, you've got Seth Groover in the 02.
We were talking about Logan Helton earlier. Logan's got an interesting story. He's 18 years old, and Jimmy Crow is the leader of this league, and Logan would race with Jimmy's dad when Logan was about 13 years old, and other people didn't want him running in their leagues because they, thought this young kid, what's he going to do? He's just going to get in here and mess it up. But Logan did a great job. Now at 18, he's racing in a lot of the iRacing Invitationals, a lot of the big races, and just doing an outstanding job. And here we see it here with his battle for the lead. We want to give a shout out to his parents, Tammy and Bobby Helton. We know are watching tonight. And they said that Grandma Maxine may be watching. And Grandma, if you're out there, you guys all did a great job raising a young man.
Well, we are at lap 8 here at Daytona. You've got a battle of the high groove and the low groove.
They are trading it back and forth too, aren't they?
They sure are, yep.
Yep, Logan's back out in front again now. But they're coming up on lap traffic, it looks like. It's going to be interesting to see how this takes shape because of the narrower track. It's tough. If he stays down on the berm, here we go. He's riding the yellow line. Boy, right in the turn, that's a worse spot to try to pass lap traffic.
Well, and on top of that, he was riding that transition. So you've got the apron, which is very flat, and then you've got the high banks of the turn. And he was he had 2 wheels on the apron and 2 wheels on the track. That's really unstable, but he was able to pull it off.
Yeah, that made me nervous watching that. I was figuring we were going to see our first caution lap of the night.
So Looks like they're coming up again on more lap traffic. Well, at least it's a single car. So if you're familiar with iRacing or NASCAR in general, that pack is going significantly faster than what they qualified at. And so a single car can only go so fast. When you've got this group of cars in a pack like this, they are going to just run you over. And so you saw that car, he's moved up to the high line, try and let the pack by.
Yeah, to make your point there, Rick, the times right now, like Butler, who's leading right at the moment in the 88 truck, is running a 47.7. They were running 51s in qualifying. So you're talking about 4 seconds difference. And in a sport like this, that's a considerable amount of speed.
Yep, that was the 23 of Sebastian Marin that was just lapped by the pack. All right, that is 10 laps, about to come to 11 laps here at Daytona, since we have witnessed some fabulous racing so far. Great clinic on drafting and working together, and frankly, just good sportsmanship as these drivers work their way in and out of these lines.
There, Logan Helton goes from the bottom to the top, and now he's back down to the bottom again, and back in the lead.
Yeah, I think what you're seeing there is a little bit of craft here, as you know, going up and basically kind of disrupting that upper line to avoid them getting a run on that low line. So they're definitely working with side drafting and kind of setting them back a little bit. Although it's only 12 laps in, they're certainly doing everything they can to protect their position.
Yeah, that gave them the added benefit of getting in front of Gabe Butler in the 88 machine. So much fun to watch these guys. You can see right there in that camera shot how close these trucks are running. If he's not touching his rear bumper, he's awful close. Then they'll back off just a little bit, just slightly in the turns, so that they don't push them sideways, get them loose and cause a big one. But now once they get on the straightaway, they'll tighten back up again if they can. And just the closer they can run together, the faster those two trucks can go.
All right, we are coming up to 13, 14 laps. We can take this opportunity. Why don't we ride along with one of these drivers here? Let's ride along with maybe Rick Seabrance here. He's a little bit farther back, so we can see a little bit of what he's seeing from a driver's perspective.
I love these in-car cameras. It just shows you can see the wheel move, you can see the tack, and how fast that engine's turning. And man, how close these guys run, and just they're able to stay off. You see how much those cars move around. And the way that just the light touch that it takes. You cannot manhandle these trucks in the draft like this. Your moves have to be so slight.
Yeah, very deft hand movements by the driver. And you see that double yellow line there. You know, it's the traction on that double yellow line where the racing surface meets the apron is not as smooth as it looks, and definitely can slide that vehicle up. And you know, here they come. The pack is coming up to some lap traffic here, and they're about to go 3 wide in this tryover.
Guys, again, these guys just do a great job at drafting for extended periods of time. Practice was a little rough. Saw several crashes in practice, but in talking with Jimmy Crow before the race, he was telling us, Rick, that he always likes it when they crash in practice because he thinks it's getting it out of their system. And it makes him nervous if they don't crash in practice because he's afraid they're going to start crashing during the race.
Well, so far so good. These guys have raced hard and fast, and they're doing well, working their way through. Here we are in lap 15, about to be 16 here at Daytona. So let's go through our order right now where we're at. So we've got the 63 of Logan Helton showing them the way, followed by Sean Stevens, and he's on the outside. You've got Gabe Butler and Gary Jenkins, Eric Lurie, Rick Seabrans, Elliott Swope in 7th, Dean Wilkinson in 8th, Marco Berube in 9th, and Tom Dixon in 10th.
That's right. It's interesting to see Elliott Swope riding up in the front. I think this is his first time to race with this league. His brother, Matt Swope, has raced the first 2 races, and it's good to see Elliott out here tonight.
Seen a lot of lane changes by some of these drivers. You saw that 411 car drop down. That's Tom Dixon. Tom dropped down from that high line, found a gap in that low line behind the 55 of Dean Wilkinson, and moved into that groove. Again, it's all about trying to find your way around here and staying with the lead pack so you give yourself a chance to be there at the end. That's the key to these races. You can, it's 77 laps, but you've got to be there at the end to make your run.
That's right. I think one of the things the drivers say a lot is you cannot win the race on the first lap, but you can certainly lose it. And that just amplifies that point. You have to be there. You got to be around. You got to pace yourself. You got to, early in the race, not get involved in tricky situations or force yourself someplace where there's not a good opening, and let things settle down a little bit and then start working your way to the front. And hopefully these guys do such a great job at reading the draft as far as knowing when runs are coming and when where they're coming from. You can see the different lines changing, where the inside line will be in the lead, then the outside line will be in the lead. And it all depends on how the trucks are interacting with each other. Like right now in this shot that you see, there's a lot of gap between those trucks. Well, they're not going to catch the leaders and not be able to get themselves up front by being spread apart like that. But at the same time, they're able to stay with the draft and not get into a situation where they're going to spin out easily or spin someone else out.
So we're just walking our way through the back of the field here. There's a lot of drivers back here that they're not necessarily out of the race. They're just in the pack. The pack just runs all the way back. You've got nearly 40 drivers still in this race.
You got a second lane up top, but it's not nearly as many trucks in that lane. You got 3-5 that we can see in that shot. That inside lane is stretched out quite a ways. You've got a second group in that outside lane, those 3 trucks right there that are going to try to make their way up. They look like they're getting close together, sucking up to each other in that draft and trying to make their way to the front.
All right, so back up front, we'll grab that lead pack. Again, Logan Helton is showing us the way here at Daytona. This is, again, the Super Speedway Kings here at Daytona. We thank you for tuning in to the IWM broadcast of this Super Speedway League. We appreciate you following us, and if you get the opportunity, if you could click on the follow button on whatever stream you're following, whether that happens to be YouTube. Whoa, we've got pit road action happening here.
All right. Yeah, that's interesting. That's a little earlier than I expected. The guys were saying that in the draft they could get close to 23 laps. So to come in on lap 20, or now we're on lap 21, that was a little bit of a surprise.
So you've got the 90 car of Gary Jenkins, Gabe Butler, J.D. Crowe, Robert DuPont III, Dean Wilkinson, Randy Miner, Buddy Waters, Jay Hillard, Tony Wright, Richard Sanchez, Jimmy Crowe Jr. all are on pit road. They're topping off for fuel and headed out.
Coming around, could see a second group. Oh boy, now we got a caution on lap 21. Do we trap these guys a lap down now?
Interesting.
You got 4 cars on pit road. I don't know if the pits were closed before they got there or not. If they were, that's going to be kind of bad news for those guys. They'll have to go to the end of the field.
So we can go back. I'm not really sure what caused that caution. Let's go back and see if we...
Oh, those guys are reacting to the caution. They saw the caution come out, which closed the pits automatically, and tried to get back up there. Oh, there's 58.
Yeah, that's Mike Rimkus. I think he just basically, that was just him getting off.
Yeah.
So I'm not quite sure why that caution came out, but
well, I tell you, after watching practice, I think it's great that they made it to lap 20.
all right, so let's go back out and pick up Logan Hilton. He's probably going to end up leading these guys down onto pit road.
Yep, there they come. I just heard somebody say they were out of gas.
Interesting. So that kind of gives us here in the broadcast booth a pretty good indicator that around 20 laps in, we're definitely going to be needing some fuel. Oh, that one missed their pit.
Yep. This is going to really jumble up the running order. Whoa,
58 spun in on pit road.
And now he's got to wait.
Yeah, that's the 58 of Mike Rimkus. He's doing a donut there on pit road.
Some of our folks watching at home probably saw that truck drive right through the other truck, and they're going, how in the world does that happen? Well, iRacing, in their wisdom, it's a little tougher to judge how close you are and things like that on pit road in a electronic format. So they give us a little grace, and vehicles can drive through each other if you're in the pit stalls. So it makes it a little easier for guys to get in and out of their pits without causing just wreck after wreck after wreck. I think that was a pretty smart decision on iRacing's part.
Absolutely. Yeah, having that little bit of grace there. So you've got the guys who are, I think, a lap down. Those guys are coming back down pit road for their time on pit road.
Yeah, it's yeah.
But also you'll find, just to interrupt, you'll find that a lot of guys are coming back down to top off fuel. It's not going to hurt them, but they're getting an extra gallon in the tank, or an extra half a gallon in the tank.
Yeah, if you're running near the back anyway, or don't care if you're running in the back, get that tank as full as you can before they go back to green.
All right, we're at lap 24. This is our first caution of the night. It's a scheduled 77 laps, so we made it nearly a third of the way through this race. For the most part, our leader has been
You were talking earlier about guys topping off, and I think it's interesting. Some people might say, well, you know, we're only 24 laps into the race. Why would they worry about gas now? Well, it's interesting. You and I raced in a race last night, a truck race, and the winners were guys the winner was a guy that went in on the very first caution lap, which was like, I think, lap 4, and topped off. And so he was on a little bit different pit strategy the rest of the race, and just that gave him enough that he didn't have to pit that one last time, and ended up winning that race last night.
All right, the lights are off on the pace car. That means only one thing. We are about to go back to green. shortly here. 54 laps to go, and we are back under green flag here at Daytona.
Yeah, the 35 truck, Buddy Waters. That's a great name, Buddy Waters. If he has a brother named Muddy Waters. But he's pulled out in front now. Buddy's from Georgia, doing a great job taking us to the green and then jumping out in front.
That's Buddy Waters in that 35 truck. He is showing us on that low line. Being challenged on the high line by the number 5 of J.D. Crow. But that 35 has got a good push by that 63 of Logan Helton.
Yeah, Logan seemed to, he's one of the few that was in that lead pack at the beginning.
Wrecking.
Oh, no. Leader's wreck right in front of the field. Most of these guys have been able to avoid it.
35 is still upside down on its lid.
Oh, man.
That's unfortunate because he will have to tow out of that condition.
That's right. Yep, he's gone. Tow truck got him. Yeah, that's one of the things about iRacing is if you can't move your car, you have no choice but to tow, and then you have to have the penalty of the time that it takes, sometimes over 3 minutes, to tow your truck back, and you lose several laps just in that effort right there. Be interesting to see what caused that. That was Logan Helton and the leader got together there. Not sure who went up and who went down, but we'll see here in just a moment. Get this rewound and that 35 truck.
All right, let's jump
Buddy
behind
Waters.
the 63 of Logan. 1 second. Let's get the truck to get us with a slightly different view here. Oh, looks like, yep. So looks like it was possibly a small bit of, looks like the 63 was trying to jump up to the high side and may have contacted.
Yeah, it looked like Logan started up and then didn't go all the way up, but then the 35 truck of Waters, then he moved up, and it looked like they were touching when he did that. You'll see him start there. He starts to move, and then it's all over.
Yep. And unfortunately, that collected the 63, the 92, yeah, that's a 7. We've got just a number of vehicles who were involved in this incident and will have damage to their truck. As
Yeah,
the
nothing
35.
intentional.
No, just the margin of error here with these guys and this truck at these speeds is very small.
Yeah, and when it's that small and you have 2 guys going for the same piece of real estate at the same time, things like that are going to happen. You hate to see it, especially with good trucks, good drivers up there in the front. And the rest of the field did a really good job of not too many guys getting tangled up in that.
That is correct. So a number of drivers came down who may or may not have been involved in that to get a repair done. Also, a few drivers came down here at lap 26, 27 and came down and topped off on fuel to pick up that fuel window. So our next fuel window looks to be, once we go back to green, guessing around lap 47, so 48. Well, thank you for joining us here at the IWM Broadcast Network. We're happy to be able to bring you the Super Speedway Kings at the Daytona International Speedway. We appreciate you joining us. This is Rick and Jeff in the broadcast booth, and we're watching this, and we're excited as you are as we watch this race unfold before us. So just so you're aware, we've got a number of drivers who have come back in one more time here on pit road. They're topping off fuel as we're about to go back to green flag racing. You can see pretty much the bulk a good bit of drivers have come back in. That that extra lap or two of fuel can be huge.
Absolutely. And some of these guys, they pitted back around lap 20, so they didn't come in this time. So there are trucks now that have an 8-lap advantage in fuel. So that we could really see that play out if this is green most of the way.
And most of the way is what matters, because frankly, you've got this as a long game. You really are playing the 77 laps. How do I get there with the fewest possible stops?
Yep. Yeah, tires aren't nearly as important. They can run. I heard some of the drivers talking beforehand and said they were only going to change left side tires all night long, and I thought that was kind of strange. And one of them said the left side, you're getting gas anyway, but the left side tires give you bite out of your pit stall. And,
all right.
So
pace car is off. Pace car has just dropped off. We are back to green flag racing. That's the 68 of Marco Berube leading us here on lap 29.
Yep, Seth Gruber in second. These guys have got a little bit of a jump on the rest of the field. And boy, they went to single file pretty quickly.
Yeah, that outside line has not formed up quite yet, but I expect we'll see that soon enough.
That's an interesting restart. Usually you see 2 good solid lines for at least a couple laps. I think there was a little bit of a discrepancy on the start. I heard Jimmy Crow just telling the field that to remember that we go on green in this league. We don't go in the Geico restart zone. So that's how some of those guys got a big jump out into the front, I think.
Well, we are looking at 3 wide. You've got Logan Helton on that outside. He is the 3rd lane here, and that's
unbelievable. He was part of that wreck at the beginning of the field, and here he is.
Oh, there's a wreck. There's a wreck behind. I'm not sure if I think that was a spin. I think he stays off the racing surface. We won't go back to yellow. But we've got, Logan is still up there. He's all by himself. He's looking for some partners to jump up there with him. It's a challenge to get somebody to do that here at Daytona. You have really got to have your racing skills and your courage and bravado to jump up and run that. There's other ways to say that, but that was the most family way to say that.
I am shocked.
Yeah.
I'm just shocked to see him out there in the 3rd lane all by himself, and he's holding his own. He's keeping up and actually advancing in the pack. He was probably 4 or 5 rows deep at one point. Then he got up to 3 rows deep. Now he's back to 4 rows again. But, man, he's holding his own out there by himself.
Well, there's that lap car that's sitting right in front that's not doing him any favors. And we've got that second pack that's out there. You're on top. We're watching from our roof cam of Logan Helton's car as now he's being held up by that 35 of Waters. He's looking for a gap, and he finds it in that 2nd lane to drop back down behind the 021 of Elliott Swope.
Yeah, I don't think he wanted to get behind Waters there. I think he wanted to lead that outside pack.
Well, he was definitely looking for a drafting partner, just was not there for him. So we've got 2 distinct fields right now. We've got that leaders group, and then we've got some folks a little bit farther back that's putting together that second group as they're trying to make a run to keep up with this field.
Yeah, that 3rd line now, just that driver just fading, can't hold on to that 3rd lane like Logan Helton could.
So right now you've got the 60 of Brian Rainville. He is leading that outside line. And the 63 of Logan Helton is out again by himself. Well, he's got the 23 back there. Hopefully he can get up and give him a little bit of help. That 23 is Sebastian Marin. Oh, and now we've got more cars that are out there willing to brave that third line.
Yeah, I think you saw right there, I think you saw Logan Helton just dragging the brake a little bit to give that 23 truck a chance to catch up. And now that 60 is up there. Brian Rainville jumped up into that third lane and thought these guys are going somewhere. Something that really was interesting there, while I was talking, I could hear the radio chatter, and Logan Helton was telling the drivers that, hey, we've got trucks up here in the third lane. Because sometimes you think that third lane's not forming, and if you're in that center lane, you start letting your truck get a little squirrely and moving up and down and left and right. And he just wanted to be sure nobody pinned him against the wall. That was pretty smart thinking for an 18-year-old.
All right, so you've got Seth Groover and Brian Rainville leading the pack. You've got the outside lane right now formed up pretty tightly. Seth Groover is leading that. I've got that right. That's the 02 of Seth Groover. You've got the 63 of Logan Helton jumping in behind him, followed by the 23 of Sebastian Marin. They have pretty much driven past and dropped down now to that low line.
Yeah, these guys are pulling out now. That center line, which is now the outside line, just they're not organized well enough. You've got 6 cars that are running out there, not tucked in tight, and just kind of biding their time, it looks like.
Well, it is a long race. We are on lap 35 of 77. We expect to see some, if it holds up, green flag pit stops in about 6 to 8 laps.
Yeah, you saw that 60 truck jump up there. He was in the low line, and he jumped up into the outside line. Now we've got a blinker in the outside line, that black and red and white truck, the 021.
Yeah, but it looks like to be Elliott Swope, who may be experiencing a bit of, now if you see that and you're not familiar with iRacing, that you may not understand what that means, but typically when you see a driver pop in and pop out like that, or you see some unusual motion, that really means that they're having a connection issue with their internet and how they're connected to the race, but we'll keep an eye on that.
Yeah, if you look at the blink rate, and Elliott is blinking quite a bit. Not as much as some that we've had in the past, and it could have been just a momentary issue on his internet provider. Up to lap 37 now, and guys are stabilized again. Got pretty raucous there for a little bit, but looks like things have stabilized. The 2 packs, left lane and the center lane, running together and holding their own with each other.
It's be like a pretty good gap between that second line. Let's jump back to that second line and see. So this second group, we've got Dean Wilkinson in the 55 leading that group. We've got Mark Mann in the 04 tucked in behind him. The 46 of David Overstreet, Paul Turner, Gabe Butler, Gary Jenkins, Eric Worre, Todd Siebels, J.D. Crow, Brian Wang are all there in this second pack. Now there's a delta of about a few seconds between them and that lead pack, but you know, anything here can just change in a moment. It does not take much time to change the complexion of this race.
Yeah, that 35 truck we saw in that shot back there, he was the one that was running up front, Buddy Waters. He was running up front when that incident happened there back around lap 23, 24, something like that. But he's back out there again. He's down a little bit. He's down 2 laps, running in 36th place. But really, he's only got one guy in front of him that's a lap down. That's Randy Miner in the 101. So if we get a couple cautions, he has a chance to make his way back to the lead lap, and he's still in it. He's not out of it yet.
All right, lap 40. We're going to jump back up to our leaders. You got Brian Rainville, who's currently leading us. We're going to stay close with this group because we are expecting to see somebody decide that it is time for fuel. Okay, so this is lap 40. We are thankful that you joined us. We are the IWM Broadcast Network here, bringing you the Super Speedway Kings here at Daytona. Brian Rainville is... Go ahead.
I was just going to say my apologies back there. We one of the unique things about iRacing is you and I are not at the track. We are each sitting in the comfort of our home on our computers calling this race, and my dogs just went crazy a moment ago, so I had to mute my mic and then couldn't hear anything that was going on. But just one of the interesting facts about how we put these races together and the technology involved, and being able to do this from our homes. Some of these guys have their rigs set up in their garage, some of them in their bedroom, some in the office or a den, whatever it might be. And so much variety in the quality of these rigs too. That's one of the things that I've been amazed at. You have guys that, some guys I don't know about in this race, but I've seen guys spend $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 on their rig. And maybe they can drive and maybe they can't. But then I've seen other guys with very inexpensive rigs, and they do extremely well. So there is a lot that goes into the talent on something like this. It's not just a video game.
Well, and the interesting thing here is that you've seen some drivers who are currently in the truck series in real life that are currently running that Camping World Truck Series, like Ty Majeski. He got his start in iRacing. This was how he got discovered, being an iRacer. And I believe, if I could be wrong, but I think Ty ran his success at iRacing on a laptop and an inexpensive wheel, and that's how he raced.
Wow, that's amazing. It's interesting. I had a conversation with Corey LaJoy one time at the Kansas race, and we got to talking about iRacing. And that's what he was telling me. He said I've done it all. He said I've got the expensive wheels and pedals, and I've got the Logitech or whatever it might be. He said, and I don't think they matter as much as some people think they do. That he said you got to have the knowledge and understanding and just that talent and feel for the car.
So Elliott Swope has made his way up and is now leading that outside line. That's the 021 car of Swope. He's followed behind by Mike Rimkus in the 58. And they are certainly working hard to challenge on that outside line. That's the 510 on the low line. That's Richard Sanchez. He's got a pretty good push behind him. That's James Mohan. Now James Carr says 7, but you'll see his number on the ticker and on the tower as 48. That's just a graphic. That's part of the challenges that we face here in the broadcast booth with some of the numbering of trucks. But
that 48 of James Mohan was a winner last week at Talladega. Did a great job staying in it all race long and then being able to pull it out at the end.
So we are at lap 45. That is approximately 20 laps since we've last seen pit stops. I expect that we are probably a lap or two away from green flag pit stops.
I think you are right. We've got to be getting close, and it's going to be interesting to see these guys break off. I've not heard anybody talk on the radio yet about pit stops. They're going by this time, but you're right. They've got to be stopping soon. Those tanks are starting to get close to fumes.
Now, one of the things that you'll do on these super speedways, and you'll see, you won't see cars coming individually because they're not going to be successful getting off pit road if they just come off as a single car. They will quickly get run over as that field comes back around because you just can't run as fast with one, or for that matter, two cars. So you'll see them come in packs. So these guys will try to, whether that's being part of a team, because there are teams here, or they'll work on track to coordinate those pit stops with each other. So we're seeing the first car. I think that's the 68 of Marco Berube, who has chosen to come down. He's coming down individually. No one came in with Marco.
Well, you can tell he wasn't listening to your broadcast there, Rick. He must have.
Apparently.
That's interesting. My guess is that he was running so low on fuel that he didn't have a choice, because these guys know that they're much better off pitting together than they are separately. But I think this lap we'll probably see. Remember, some of these guys have 8 laps more fuel than others, so that'll be interesting.
Here we go. We're beginning to see more come in.
Not near as many as I thought. There's guys still staying out there.
That's the 60 of
Sanchez. Yeah, Richard Sanchez.
Yep, Brian Rainville, Seth Grover, Sean Stevens, James Peterson are all getting their fuel. That's the 60 of Brian Rainville. So we're going to see that. We're going to see as these laps go down. My guess is that we will see a significant group of guys come down pit road this lap. Probably more than. Here we go.
Oh yeah, big pack now, and they all got to look at. Oh, better get on the brakes there. Man, he made up some ground. He gained about 10 spots just on the entrance to pit road.
So we've got a huge, we've got 15 or so drivers who have chosen to take this lap as their pit stop. Unfortunately, the 23 of Sebastian Miron overshot his pit stall by a little bit, so he had to back up a bit. Got the 63 of Logan Helton. And now they're back as they're coming off pit road. Those stops wind up actually at the point at which they hit the pit stop to the point of exiting their stop at around 10, 11, 12 seconds. That's enough time for topping off your tank and one side of tires. This is very interesting.
Oh boy, I'll say 63 and 510 fighting for position on the entrance ramp back onto the track.
That I will tell you, Jeff, that's the first time I have seen that happen ever on this track, and without one driver getting a penalty for pit road exit.
That was amazing. It's sometimes, we were talking about it earlier, that apron area there is flat, and it's when you're going through a corner flat on maybe new tires, maybe not, but either way, it's that car's hard to hang on to, and to have 2 of them side by side that long in that apron was pretty amazing.
Another round of guys coming in. That's David Bond, Tom Dixon, J.D. Crow, Gabe Butler, Eric Laurie, Brian Wang, Gary Jenkins are in now. So going back to Logan Helton and that group, they were very strategic in that they came out, granted, side by side, but they quickly, him and Richard Sanchez kind of came up together, and they did a great job in staying out ahead of. Oh, we're under caution. Not really sure why that caution flag came out.
If anybody hasn't pitted yet, this is going to be good for them. Yeah, I did not see what brought that caution flag out, but guys are flowing up, try to regroup, catch up to that pace car, and
Let's
pit road should be open soon.
jump back. See if
There's
we
a
see
60
just
truck.
may have happened there. Definitely. Oh,
There's
definitely going
Brian Rainville.
Yep. Let's just kind of see what happened here with Brian Rainville.
Who's that middle truck on the outside lane? Oh, 58 just slides up the track.
Well, let's go back a little bit. It may have just been the just kind of looking for position here. Let's just go. So you can watch the 60 truck. You can see that seam. He's beginning to come down on that seam into the
Oh, yeah.
space that currently the 58 is frankly defending. And there may have just not been quite the space that the 60 truck needed to come down into there. And of course, that sets the 07 truck scrambling. A little bit of damage probably on the 07 as he clips that side of the 60. The 60 ends up backing up into
Yeah.
the safer barrier there and collecting the 85 a bit as he comes through. So definitely, unfortunately, a bit of an incident here with the 60 truck.
Yeah,
Brian
that's going
Rainville.
to that did quite a bit of damage to that 60 truck. He's if he still has a fast repair left, he'll have to use that, or he's going to be parked in pit lane a long time for repairs.
Well, I think here, and of course now we're seeing a lot of guys on pit road. Even if you came in before, you're back in. Most of these guys came back in and got more fuel. Those pit stops were just enough to add a gallon or two of Sunoco fuel back in their tanks. There are 25 laps to go, and that is significant. By the time we go back to green, that could leave 22 laps to go.
Boy, that is right on the edge, isn't it?
It sure is. So for those, it makes perfect sense. Now is the time for you to come back in, top off that tank, because you could make it all the way.
Yeah, you'll see some guys if this yellow lasts any longer that they'll come back in and top again. Interesting, we talked about this earlier. Buddy Waters in that 35 truck is now the first truck 2 laps down. There's nobody 1 lap down, so he's in the position for the lucky dog, which would put him back. Well, no, that would put him still 1 lap down. He's going to need 2 yellow flags to get back up on the lead lap, but we'll see what happens. 25 to go. Racing always intensifies the closer you get to the checkered flag. And so I think we've got a lot of excitement in front of us yet. You don't want to shut off your computer and go to bed now. You want to watch for a little bit longer. We've got another 24 laps to see what happens.
So I think that's the number 90 car of Gary Jenkins. I think Gary is the last car on the lead lap, and just will take a bit back and another shot back on pit road, and that's all your leaders who have come back down pit road to top off their tanks. Because yes, there's 24 laps to go. I don't think they can make it 24 laps. On top of that, if this happens to go to a green-white checker, that adds at least 2-3 laps to the end of the race, and you may have enough to make it under regulation, but you sure don't have enough to make it in a green-white checker situation, and that will force you back into pit road, and you'll have to give up those spots.
That is true. So it's a chess game now. There's a lot of side-by-side, nose-to-tail racing, but this is a thinking man's race. As you get closer and closer to the end, you've got to make more and more decisions. You know, what's the risk reward on a move that you're going to make? What are you going to do for fuel? What are you going to do for tires? We haven't talked a lot about tires tonight because they're not as critical here, but some of these guys have been putting on the left side. I saw a few trucks change all 4 on a recent pit stop, so they figure if they're in there getting fuel anyway, Might as well get fresh rubber.
So the field is not really formed up, but we are going back to green.
Wow, that's yeah.
And we are
Green
under,
flag.
look at all of the cars who are just way back
Spread
there.
out. Yeah.
Really interesting at 23 laps to go why these guys did not catch up to the field.
Elliott Swope lead him to the green, and then Sanchez looked like got back out in front of him. But well, got a third line forming now, and the center lane may turn into a sucker hole. Nope. Now they're back to kind of 2.5. That second lane just can't seem to get organized here. They lost their leader when Sanchez went down to the lower line, and they're going to have to fight to get back up there now.
Well, I'm really shocked at the fact that we've got this pack all out by itself, and we've got significant cars that did not start all in order. But it is what it is. We've got the 35 currently on the outside.
Yeah, just heard one driver say he pulls out there. Yeah, John Ward drop into the back.
Yep, that the 35 truck of Buddy Waters on the outside there. Buddy's a lap or two back down, but he is out there leading that outside line.
That's right. Best way for him to get his laps back is to stay up as close to the front as he can. And he was doing it earlier and doing it again. It was interesting talking to the drivers ahead of the race tonight, and I always have a tendency to ask them who's the favorite tonight. Well, tonight it was all over the road. They listed about 6 or 8 drivers that they felt all had a great chance of winning this race tonight, and I think we're seeing that. We've seen a lot of lead changes. We've seen a lot of different people at the front. And it makes for exciting racing. It's a lot of fun to watch this.
So you saw that 510 of Richard Sanchez get a hellacious push by Elliott Swope on that backstretch.
Yeah, you and I have both raced with Elliott. We know he's a great super speedway racer. So he knows when to push, when to back off. He knows how to see the runs coming and that sort of thing. So he's 510's got a good pusher behind him.
There's a 3 wide starting. There's a car on that third lane beginning to see if that's the spot for him, or is he going to drop back down into the second groove, which he just, no, now he's definitely on that outside line with a little bit of help behind him.
Yeah, 20 laps to go, and they're trying to make things happen. Some of these guys are saying, okay, if nobody else is going to do it, I'll try it.
That's the 0-2 of Seth Groover trying to make that third line work. He's got a couple folks trying to help him or influence that spot. We'll see. Oh, a little bit of contact there. Hang on to it, Seth. Oh, in the wall. Wall again, but he hung on to it. But that has forced him back. That, contacting that safer barrier at these speeds, it's almost just sucks you in, and not only does it damage the outside of the truck, but it also slows you down significantly. So that impacts the 0-2 of Seth Groover as he works his way back to the end of the field and gets that truck back underway. Got the 510 of Richard Sanchez now leading this, followed by the 0-21 of Elliott Swope.
Yeah, on short tracks you can graze the wall a little bit and just keep on going. But man, on these super speedways, you're right, that safer barrier sucks you in, number one. Number two, you lose your place in the draft. And number three, because of being sucked in, you lose a lot of momentum.
So we've got a number of takers now on pit road. That's Gabe Butler, Robert DuPont III, Seth Groover. He'll probably get his truck fixed there on that damage that was there on the outside. There, you just saw it happen right in front of your eyes. Brian Wang, Eric Laurie, and then a few others are beginning to come back in. They're topping off that fuel and getting that truck back out on the track. We've got 18 laps here to go at Daytona. Don't go away. Don't change the channel. The Super Speedway
That's right.
Kings.
That pit stop timing is a little confusing to me. Stopping under green flag. Here we've got a few more drops. 4 more cars coming in now. 17 laps to go. That just seems early to do a green flag stop because you're going to lose so much position. Whoa, big pile up somewhere.
Caution's out. Caution is out on the track. Unfortunately, I think we've got a crash with David Overstreet. Let's see if we can go back and pick up the replay. Oh, there we go. We got big wreck. That 35 is involved. I think again. That was right
man,
behind the leaders.
Yeah. Oh yeah, contact right there.
Yep, let's go back.
Right in front of Logan. Logan Helton right behind it.
So that's the 35. He comes down and unfortunately contacts. That's the 46. Definitely involved. The 63 goes low and gets out of the carnage that's unfolding behind. We got lots of cars in the air. Lots of damage ensuing here.
35 got more air than Michael Jordan. That's crazy. He's up in the air twice.
James Mohan, Tom Dixon, number of vehicles have unfortunately been caught up in that wreck, and that really changes the complexion of this.
Jumble in for that green flag stop on 18 to go to top off. That's going to hose them. I mean, they're going to get stuck. They're going to lose positions on that. Now this is going to, because that happened at the front, it's going to juggle the lead up so much. Still have Sanchez in the lead, but a couple of those guys up through the 63 of Helton in fourth.
So Elliott Swope stayed out. You saw a number of guys, the James Mayer, Sean Stevens, Sebastian Marin, Richard Sanchez. Those guys all came down pit road.
Yeah, and that jumbled it up even further.
Well, with 15 laps to go, we are under our caution. This is only our 4th caution of the night.
You got those first 10 trucks from Swope up through Groover. I'd say you probably got 4 or 5 of those guys that are capable of winning this thing. And I'd venture to guess that all 10 think they are. But well, it's going to be a great race to the finish here. I'm looking forward to this.
Absolutely. And hey, we're thankful that you could join us here on the IWM Broadcast Network. This is the Super Speedway Kings. If you get the opportunity, whatever platform or stream you're watching on, if you could go out there and like or follow, that way in the event of you'll get notified of. I'm sorry for the pause, but it looks like I could be wrong, but Elliott Swope is down on the apron there.
Oh yeah,
he is
coming to pit road, maybe.
I don't know. He seems
trying to keep his fuel. Yeah, trying to keep his fuel over to the right side of that tank.
But yeah, if you could like or subscribe, that way you'll be notified of every Tuesday night for this league. And if you're so inclined, we broadcast also a Wednesday night league for the iRacing Warrior Motorsports. That's a Cup Series race every Wednesday night. So Tuesdays and Wednesdays, feel free to join us here on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitch, and watch us here to bring some of the best of what iRacing has to offer, and that is great racing, good drivers, and just good sportsmanship. So.
Absolutely, I echo that. These guys have proven race in and race out. This is our 3rd race with them, and they prove every week they know what they're doing. They know how to handle their truck. They know how to position themselves, and it's just it's a lot of fun to watch guys and gals that know what they're doing in a race car.
Well, lights are off on top of the pace car, and that is a sign that we are about to go back to green flag racing. We have 14 laps here to go. We'll be 13 at the stripe. Hopefully these guys have enough fuel in those tanks to make it those last 13 laps, and if we need to, a few more. You've got the 021 of Elliott Swope currently showing us the way on the low line. Elliott is the control car. The outside of Mark Mann, you've got Logan Helton currently in third place. He's in the catbird seat right behind Elliott Swope on that low line. You've got Zachary Workman on the outside. Pace car is off.
You got Logan tucking up there on the 021 of Elliott Swope. Oh, Elliott got a jump.
Good jump and good start.
Yeah, that didn't make Logan happy, I don't think. Yeah, now he's dragging the brake to let him catch up, and here they come.
Well, you can't run away as a single car. You will be run down. We do have the outside line forming up. I think that's the 33 of David Vaughn. Things are going to get a little hectic here with these last 12, 13 laps to go. It's going to be lots of slicing and dicing as these drivers try to find a spot that can get them to the front.
Yeah, those first 8 cars lined up really well. Then you go 3 wide, just for one row though. Now they're moving around again. That pink truck, the what is it?
That's the
69. Looks like. Some of these paint schemes make, the 69 truck, he moved down into the, deserted that third lane, moved back down in with everybody else in the second.
That's Brian Wang.
Brian Wang's a good Speedway racer. He finished second last week at Talladega, so he knows how to navigate these. A lot of good drivers. Now that third lane's forming up a little bit. Got 2 guys out there trying to have an impact, trying to get that third lane developed.
That's the 23 on the outside. That 23 is Sebastian Murn trying to make that work back here. He's got a little bit of help from the 95. This is close racing, folks, here with 3 wide.
Yeah, the 88 and the 02 move up there into that third lane to join them, and now look at that lane start to take off. Now they're making ground on that
Look at the
lane.
63. He abandoned the 021 and moved up to the outside lane. He's trying to find his way to the front, and he does with the push behind him. Oh, and back down. So Logan is playing the long game here. We are now 3 wide here at Daytona. We've got lots of lane changes and dicing as these drivers begin to figure out where they want to go. So the 63 is down in front of the 021 of Elliott Swope. The 88 is leading that middle lane, pushed by the 04, and that outside lane has got the 02 of Seth Groover, following the 23, the 95, the 5, and the 071, trying to make that outside lane work.
That outside lane was doing great on the straightaways. They get into the corners, and it's a lot further around the higher up the track you are. And I think that you can see that outside lane moving up now on the straightaway. We'll see what happens here in the turn. So they go into turn 3, I think that is. Yeah, see, they start to fade back a little bit, and that inside line starts moving forward.
We're about to cross the stripe and go to 9 laps to go here at Daytona with the Super Speedway Kings. We are 3 wide.
This is the way you race at Daytona. Hey, everybody played nice. There was a lot of give and take, Now it's all give, or it's all take, I mean.
The margin
nobody wants to give.
The margin of error here is skinny as can be. Seth Groover is showing us that outside line, and now he's got a choice, and he takes it. He dips down and stalls out that middle lane a little bit. That caused the 63 and the 021 to kind of jump ahead. Careful, careful. Oh, contact,
Whoa,
contact.
whoa, there we go. 88's in that one.
Big
Taken
wreck,
out.
big
Oh,
wreck,
man.
big wreck.
They're all piling in. Yeah, I would say that brings out the caution.
Okay, folks. It'd be easier, I think, to tell you about what cars were not involved in that wreck,
Exactly.
which got
Boy.
caught up in that. Oh my gosh, that was huge.
I
So
saw the 88 moving around, but I couldn't tell if someone else got into him or if he got loose or what happened there. But
well, we'll
yeah,
see
he
if
got up into the O2. Looks like they pinched up there.
we can call that out. Take
I
this a
heard
little bit slow.
Elliot Swope said something on the radio about it was him, but I don't. Is that him going up against the O2?
He may have come
No,
up.
he's in front of the 88. Oh, he may have forced the 88 up.
Yep, that may be
Yeah.
possible. So let's run this at speed, and then we'll run it back at quarter speed. Yep,
Yep.
looks like Elliott may have come up into the 88. Unfortunately, following the leader of Logan Helton there, and in doing so, impacted the 88 there.
That pushes the 88 up into the O2, and that's when just everything breaks loose. Probably more trucks in that pile up than we've seen all night.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah, it really is. Saw Rick Seabrans make it through there. Logan obviously was out in front of it, Logan Helton in the 63. 7 to go here. Probably going to be what, you think 5 or 4 to go?
Correct. So we got a number of
When we go
cars
green.
who are currently on pit road. I think the 510 has got some significant damage. Hopefully he's got a way to repair, but he has got a lot of damage on that car. He may be, unfortunately, not able to continue. Number of drivers that came in, they topped off their fuel. They're headed back out, and we'll get this race restarted with just a handful of laps to go.
23 is Sebastian Marin coming out. He's getting back up to speed, going to catch the field here. Sebastian, we saw last week. We talked to him in the post race because he finished third. So he knows his way around a super speedway. Done a great job. Got the.
I'm not quite sure where that hometown is. And did we talk to him? Was he from Puerto Rico? Is that the same driver?
That could be. Let me. Where did that? 23. Let me look it up. Look it up here.
I think in Puerto Rico.
Yeah, he may be the driver that we talked to last week from Puerto Rico. Let me check my notes.
That helmet kind of tells me that that may just be the case, or that picture there. So, all right. So
yeah.
let's kind of put this back together for you as to what we're seeing here. So we've got 6 laps to go. The lights are just off on the pace car, which means we're going back to green. They'll cross that stripe with 4 laps to finish this race. Now, that being said, here's our current order. You've got the 63 of Helton, 19 of Workman, 021 of Swope, 4 of Seabrans, the 27 of Stevens, the 68 of Barabee, the 38 of Ward, the 23 of Marin, the 07 is DuPont, and the 33 of Bond are your top 10. Now, once we go, and I'm assuming they'll probably go back to 3-wide racing, you'll probably bring up the cars of the 69 of Brian Wang, the 171 of Robert Rock. You'll see the 95 of James Mayer, the 45 of Todd Siebels, and the 55 of Dean Wilkinson, possibly the 88 of Gabe Butler will be up there as well. So there's lots of things. Don't go away. These next 4 laps could be quite exciting.
Jimmy Crow on the radio coaching these guys through the restart.
All right, we're about to get back underway here at Daytona. Cars are coming off, going through turn 4, about to come back to the front stretch.
Guys need to get tightened up here and get ready for this restart.
We'll go on board with this start. We're on board with the number 4 of Rick Seaburns. Here we go, green, green, green.
See those trucks wiggle when they get started. Put the gas down and get a little bit free. That outside line's moving up there.
Well, that 4 is giving one hellacious push to the 19 of Workman, and they are in a side-by-side battle with the 63 of Logan Helton.
Yeah, now that outside lane's gonna get a run here. Elliott Swoop was blinking out again there, following the 63 of Helton, and probably affected Helton's speed for a short period of time there.
So we got some 3 wide racing in the back. We've seen the 23 jumping up. That 23 is Sebastian Marin, who decided he's forming up that 3rd line. And we've got a 3rd line for him. There are 3 laps to go here at Daytona, and we are back to 3 wide.
Well, this is going to be a nail biter right down to the end. 3 wide all the way there. And all guys that know what they're doing, know how to put together a race. And it's going to be interesting to see who wins this.
What a run. That outside lane had one heck of a run. The 23 was being pushed by the 95. That's James Mayer. And he pushed him out of the 3rd lane and right down to the lead. Wrecking again.
That's going to bring out another caution. Yep, 3 to go.
Well, that will take us into the green-white checker, and we'll go into overtime. I am not sure what happened.
Made 5 laps, and that's what happens though at the end of these races. It's every man for himself. They're not as careful. They're looking for every spot they can get.
Let's try to see. Back up just what happened. I think Elliott Swope may have been involved in that.
Yeah, it looked like somebody got him in the rear or no, is that the... Yeah, we'll see if the 68 comes up and gets into the 021 of Elliott, or if it's the Yeti truck that comes down. Oh, there comes, nope. Elliott's going up and gets into the Yeti truck and makes a hard left turn.
Well, he hung on to it. I don't think the 04 survived that and wound up contacting others. Let's just try to get a better shot. Let's back that up just a little bit here. See if we can jump back with that 27, get a bit of wider shot here. Oh gosh, yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately. Yep, carnage ensues. There's guys through the grass. Look at that. Well, okay.
Oh, gets another shot there.
Yeah. So we've got a number of drivers who are currently on pit road. We've got so that 04 may have been getting a little of a push to get back to pit road.
Yeah, this leg gives these guys 2 fast repairs, which those of you that don't know a lot about iRacing, when you pull into the pits, if you click your fast repair, if you have a lot of damage, click your fast repair button. As soon as you stop in pit road, your car is back to 100%, and just like new. and they can do that twice in this race. And I'm just going to take a wild guess that some of these guys have used up 2, and they're suffering with the damage right now.
Well, we saw that live with Rick Seabrans. He had a fast repair, and you saw his truck. You saw that damage kind of disappear, and he's back to 100%. Probably a little bit unhappy about how that just that's a fair way to say that.
Yeah, he was on the receiving end of that one. I feel bad for him.
Well, we are going to go back to a green flag checker. So what that means, folks, is that when that green flag flies, when the drivers make it around, hopefully they make it around that whole lap without any incidents, they'll come back and take the white flag, and that will be the last lap. Once that white flag falls, doesn't matter if there's a wreck, doesn't matter if there's an incident, however the race finishes, it will be in the books. So the lights are off on top of the pace car. We are about to come back to green flag racing. So these guys will form back up, and we'll go back to green flag conditions. You've got our top 10, Sebastian Marin, James Mayer, Logan Helton is still up front, Zachary Workman, Marco Berube, John Ward, Brian Wang, Robert DuPont III, JD Crow, Robert Rock are your top 10. The 11th driver, Todd Siebels, Gabe Butler, David Bond, Dean Wilkinson is in 14th, Sean Stevens in 15th, Edward Fielder, Elliott Swope is in 17th, and Rick Seabrans is in 18th. Rick is the last car on the lead lap.
You could see that 63 truck of Logan Helton down there on the apron, and a lot of times what they're trying to do is get that fuel in the fuel tank. I know it's all virtual, but these trucks are so realistic. They try to get that fuel so that when they're on the high banking, all that fuel settles in the lower left-hand side of the tank. So they're trying to get that fuel spread back out again, so that they when they go green, they're not sputtering and slowing down.
Jeff, I think fuel may be a major consideration for Logan Helton because he last pitted on lap 53. Now, I know we've had a number of pit stops in between. I mean, caution flags in between, but that truck may be on fumes.
Yes.
All right, we are back underway. The green flag is out.
Good clean start. That front pack looks like they're running in formation. 63 is giving a good push to the 23 there.
That's Sebastian Marin, followed by Logan Helton, giving him a push. Behind Logan, you've got the 68 of Marco Berube. The outside line is formed up pretty good. That's the 95 of James Mayer, and he's being pushed by the 19 of Zachary Workman. They are working hard to get out in front of this group. Here we go. We're back on the front strip. It's going to be coming to the stripe. That will take the white flag. And this is your final lap here at Daytona with the Super Speedway Kings. It is a battle for first between the 23 of Sebastian Marin and the 95 of James Mayer. How they wind up, how they finish, you've got 3 turns to go.
Helton giving Marin a great push there, but now that outside line's trying to come back. We'll see if they can do it. Those first 3 trucks in that inside row are doing a great job at staying together.
I think as you come out of turn 4, you're going to see every man for themselves. Everybody wants to cross that stripe first.
Outside line.
Here we go.
Broke up into 2 lines. Here we go. It's going to be interesting now. Everybody's going to try to break free.
Oh, there we go. Sebastian Marin wins the Super Speedway Kings here at Daytona. That's the 63 of Logan Helton. He figured he didn't have enough damage on his car, on his truck, so he added to it a spectacular finish. That's our third place winner, Logan Helton. So Sebastian Martin wins. James Mayer comes in second in the 95. Logan is in third. Zachary Workman in fourth. J.D. Crow in fifth. Marco Berube in sixth. Seventh is John Ward. Eighth is Brian Wang. And Robert Rock is in ninth. 10th was Gabe Butler.
Great run again by these guys tonight. I know we saw a few more yellow flags than we were hoping for, but like we said at the top of the broadcast, Daytona's tougher to run and very, very different from Talladega. It's a much tighter course. It's bumpier, and you really have to have your truck dialed in to be handling well because they move around so much. So guys did a good job. This is their first trip to Daytona this year, so first time jitters. I remember our first race at Talladega 3 races ago. They had more yellow flags than they wanted, and then the next race they did really well.
That was a wild finish. So your winner again is Sebastian Marin. We'll expect to see hopefully Logan Helton in the broadcast booth. We'll get interviews with drivers. In fact, I think I can bring Logan in now at the broadcast booth. Hang on. Logan, welcome to the broadcast booth and congratulations on your podium finish.
Thank you very much.
That was an exciting finish.
It was very exciting. I'm glad we could finish it out cleanly there. I was just committed to pushing Sebastian unless I got clear, but until I got clear, my one job was for Sebastian. So yeah, I'm glad he got the win, and glad we could all finish where we deserved.
That shows a lot of maturity, I think, for someone your age, Logan. Are you 18? Is that right? Did I catch that right?
Yes, sir. I'm 18 years old.
And doing a lot of high-end racing. So to see that kind of mature driving at 18, Jimmy Crow told us to watch you, and he was right. You did a great job tonight.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I have a lot of fun racing in here with Jimmy. I haven't done it in a while just because I've been busy with other stuff and all that. But I haven't been racing the trucks a whole lot recently. But Road to Pro is starting up next couple of months, and I need to start getting back in this truck and getting used to how it feels to drive. So I thought no better place to do it than Super Speedway Kings and running around with some of my friends and just having fun at a Super Speedway.
Well, you did a great job. You were a blast to watch, and certainly it was interesting. There was that rash of yellow flags that came out later in the race, but certainly it was great to watch.
Yes, sir. There was a lot of, I wouldn't say a lot of wrecks. I feel like Jimmy beats himself up with these races that have cautions in them, and I don't think cautions is necessarily a bad thing unless they're just really, really dumb wrecks. But I thought tonight most of the cautions were just showing normal racing incidents. You could put blame on someone, but it's just an honest mistake, and I think that's what we got to think about whenever we see cautions. Like just because a race has a couple cautions doesn't mean it was a bad one. So
it was.
I enjoyed racing tonight. I did not mind the cautions. Like I was involved in one, and I still didn't mind. It's just all part of racing, especially at super speedways.
So any shout outs you'd like to throw out there?
Well, first I'd like to thank you guys for broadcasting this race. I'll be going back and watching it later. I'd like to thank my teammates at Alliance Motorsports and Nexus Esports. Whenever we're racing these races, everything kind of blends into one. So there's too many people that I was racing with tonight in the channel. But just thanks to all of them. They know who they are. And thanks to Splash and Go Graphics for making this amazing paint scheme. And the Coca-Cola and pretzels I had before the race.
Okay. All right. Congratulations. Thank you again,
Congratulations, Logan.
Thank you very much.
Okay, that is Logan Helton, our third place finisher. Let's see if we can grab Mr. James Mayer in the broadcast booth. James, welcome to the broadcast booth. Congratulations on your second place finish.
Hey, thanks, guys.
It was an exciting race to call. I hope you had as much fun as we did.
Yeah, I thought it was gonna be a fuel mileage race there for a little while until we got a couple of those cautions, but yeah, overall, not a bad race.
James, were you one of the guys that pitted early on? Like I think like around oh, I forget what lap it was, 4 or 5, somewhere in there, and or no, 20, no, 4 or 5, sorry, and came in and topped off early on.
No, I ran it. I was trying to stretch them, so I was stretching the tanks as far as I could, and I thought I was gonna be able to kind of stop out towards the end there, but then we got those cautions and got to put everybody on a even playing field.
Yeah, well, you guys did a great job again tonight. Daytona, we talked about it on the broadcast. Daytona's a little bit tougher than Talladega in some regards because of the narrowness and the bumps and things like that. But I thought you guys did a great job tonight as a whole.
Yeah, and actually, I think I did top off there on that first caution.
Okay.
I can't remember. Maybe I can't remember if I did or not.
It's okay.
But yeah, Daytona is a little bit tighter. The racing gets a little bit tighter. Open setup, so the trucks aren't matching up. Whoever you're pushing with gets a little wobbly. But overall, I mean, I think it's good racing still. Every now and then you get a couple bad bumps here and there. But
Well, great job.
Any shout outs, James?
Yeah, of course. Jimmy putting the league on, and all the guys coming out and running. It's still fun. I know we get a couple cautions and some tempers flare, but I think you'll have that anywhere. Of course, you guys up in the booth putting on the show, and all the guys I'm racing with for keeping it fun.
Great. Okay, well, thanks again, and congratulations on your second place finish. Thanks again.
Yep, thank you.
Congrats, James.
Thanks.
Okay, that's your second place finisher of James Mir, and I am searching to see if we can grab our winner, Sebastian Mir. Let me see if I can pull him into the broadcast booth. He was down with his team there.
Yeah, Boot Knockers. Great name for a team.
All right, Sebastian, congratulations and welcome to the broadcast booth.
Hey guys, how you guys doing? Thank you.
That was an exciting finish. We saw you work your way up, and we saw you working your way through the field. It was quite impressive.
I was just trying to get to the front, late race, so the action was pretty crazy. Had a few faster pairs to use, and left the way I had them because I got caught up in, I think, the last 2 yellows. And I managed to get myself out front, got lined up with my good friend Logan, and yeah, I put my trust in him that he could push me to the win, and he did. So yeah, great result.
Well, Sebastian, you did a great job tonight. It was interesting because you weren't able to be at the first race this season at Talladega. You're from Puerto Rico, and your island and all your folks down there, wonderful people in Puerto Rico, were affected by that hurricane that came through, and you didn't have internet, is my understanding.
Yes, that is correct. At that time, it was come and go. So last week I missed it because it was just one of those that they just, I'm guessing, had to disconnect certain sections to re-energize others. So yeah, a little bit disappointing that I missed the first race, but this is a great way to bounce back.
Oh yeah, you're climbing your way up the standings because you missed the first race, but you finished third in the second race, and then get the top of the podium tonight. So I think you're going to make your way up towards the top of the standings here pretty shortly.
Oh, I sure hope so. That's the plan. Get to the front and stay out front, and hopefully luck out a championship.
Well, great job.
Thank you very much.
Any shout out, Sebastian?
Yeah, I'll give a shout out to the guys that I was running with tonight. Logan, Mark, Rick. Who else was there? Oh man, there were so many. I believe Sanchez was there. I believe Posey was there. Jimmy Reynolds, who got knocked out pretty early. So yeah, I want to give a shout out to them, and I'll give a shout out to you guys for putting on this broadcast. always great to rewatch the races, see what I could have done differently, see it from a different perspective. So thank you very much.
Well, thank you for the compliment. We enjoy it nearly as much as you do. So, all right, that is your winner tonight. That's Sebastian Marin, and we thank you and look forward to seeing you next week.
Congrats, Sebastian.
Thank you very much, guys. Have a good night.
You too.
All right, that is your winner tonight. That's Sebastian Marin in the 23. We just an exciting finish here at Daytona, Jeff. It really was just amazing.
Yeah, it was. We knew at the beginning we were in for some good racing, and these guys once again did not disappoint. One of the things I just love about this league, we mentioned it earlier in the broadcast, but these guys will work together. They compete against each other, but yet they share setups, they share knowledge, they help one another become better drivers, and I just love to see that in a league like this.
Well, we've just been joined in the booth by Jimmy Crow. Jimmy runs this league, the Super Speedway Kings, and Jimmy, that was an exciting Daytona.
Oh yeah, it was hairy at times.
Well,
For sure.
we'll take the Harry. It was it was great to watch these guys go around.
Oh yeah, they do a good job. You know, we had 6 cautions. Some of them could have been avoided tonight, but overall they did a good job. Well, it's still early in the season, only the 3rd race, and we'll get it cleaned up. I appreciate all their effort.
Yeah, there were a couple cautions that you know you could assign blame if you really pushed it, but yet at the same time, sometimes it's just 2 guys going for that same piece of real estate, and they get together. And when they do that, and especially if they're up near the front of the pack and everybody's bunched up, it's going to damage a lot of trucks. But your guys, again, like Rick said, your guys did a great job tonight. Put on a good show for everybody watching the broadcast. And it was exciting to see Sebastian come in with that win. He missed the first race, but he's made up for it on the next 2.
Oh yeah, he's one heck of a racer, one heck of a talent. He's got a lot of wins on Tuesdays and Fridays. He's a threat everywhere he races, and I'm lucky to have him in the league. I'm lucky to have everybody in the league. Like I say,
Yeah.
I take stuff to heart, and I just want everybody to have a good race.
Yeah, well, you told me before the race started to keep my eye on Logan Helton, and he didn't disappoint tonight. He put on a great show. You could see real maturity for an 18-year-old driver, and I was just, it was interesting to watch him and then to hear him talk about his race, the way he thinks, and you can tell by the way he drives that he understands what's going on with the trucks. He's not just trying to shove his nose in where it shouldn't go or where it doesn't belong, but he does a great job at thinking his way through his moves, but being able to do it quickly.
Yeah, he's another young gun. His nickname's Logan the Kid Helton. My dad gave him that nickname back in the day, and yeah, I've seen him grow up on iRacing. He can beat you at any track. He's one of the best drivers. Love his family and appreciated him coming out and racing tonight. He's one heck of a driver.
So, Jimmy, tell us about next week. Where are we next Tuesday?
We're going back to Talladega. Hopefully we have a good run there, and then we got another Talladega, and then we'll be back here at Daytona.
Well, we are looking
Sounds like
forward
fun,
to that.
man.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, appreciate the great job y'all are doing. Everybody's loving the broadcast. I'm loving the broadcast. Appreciate y'all and all the sponsors, and yeah, thank y'all for doing this for.
We appreciate you. Again, Super Speedway Kings, sponsored by Wow Video Tours, Over the Top Graphics, and Fort Worth Screen Printing. Without those sponsors, these races and leagues can't happen, so certainly we appreciate their involvement and their participation. So again, your winner tonight, Sebastian Marin. 2nd place, James Mayer, and 3rd place, Logan Helton. We are thankful if you could join us tonight. We appreciate it, and we hope to see you next week at Talladega. This is Rick Souza and Jeff Nini with the IWM Broadcast Network. We thank you for tuning in, and we hope to see you next week.